Ethan Willoughby at SIUE, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, is joining me, your host, Carter Mize, on this episode of Alumni Player Spotlight. As we call him, E-Dub, playing over at SIUE. He's in his third season there, going to be his third season this coming. Ethan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hop straight into it here. So getting from the Tigers to SIUE, walk me through your recruiting process.
All right. So I joined the Tigers my freshman year of high school. So about, I think it was 15U. I don't even know how I got onto it. My dad was like, we're going to go to this tryout down somewhere in St. Louis. I was like, all right. Spiker was there. Told me that I had a spot on the team. We were like, yes, let's do it. Going into that summer, it was kind of hectic. My freshman year was kind of before the rules had changed. It was there was a lot of coaches, like JUCO coaches, reaching out to me. A couple of D2, D1s. SIUE was in the picture. Ball State was in the picture. And then that summer came around, and we just went pretty much everywhere. We went to Grand Park, Lake Point, and Missouri a lot. Kansas City, just pretty much where we think we would get recruited the most at. So going into my sophomore year was probably the most stressful time of my life. Kids don't understand that the recruiting process, it is stressful, no matter how hard you try to not make it be. And I originally committed to Illinois State my sophomore year of high school. That was in the spring. Then I think probably around my junior year, the summer, I decommitted from there. And then it was same thing over again. It was just phone call after phone call with a bunch of coaches. But I called back with Coach Lyons and Coach Scott at the time from SIUE, and I had no doubt that this was home. Yeah, that's pretty much how it went down. The Tigers helped me a lot. You post on Twitter, because Twitter is basically a recruiting process for baseball players nowadays.
Yeah.
But it was, post on Twitter at all the coaches, at all the people that are following you, and it was a repost, and that boom, you have one coach follow you, and it leads to a phone call. But yeah, I would say Twitter, and obviously the Tigers with their platform that they have on Twitter and how many connections they have, it helps a lot. Kids don't realize that Twitter actually does help you, but it helps you a lot.
I think having that, like you said, with the Tigers and the networking of, you get your videos out there, you tag all of us, and then like we repurpose the same post, repost it, put it out. Right. Maybe we can say something about you, whatever. And that gets that video to twice as many people. And then if somebody else does it, then that's more people. And like someone's going to see it if you have the goods,
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you step foot on SIUE's campus as a freshman, like right at the beginning of fall, what was it like? What did you think it was going to be like? What was the experience?
It was a good experience. I had no complaints at all. The only thing is the pace of the game is so different.
Oh, yeah.
So different. No one realizes how slow high school baseball is. It doesn't matter if you play at a big school or in a small school. The pace of the game, the intensive practice, just everything, weight room, everything is it's just the next step. I think it wasn't like a catch off guard, but it definitely like you kind of hit like a brick wall, and it's like, whoa, like you kind of have to like play up to person next to you and keep up with them, because if not, you're just going to fall so far behind. But when I stepped on campus, it was nothing I wasn't ready for, nothing I didn't prepare for. Coaches are so welcoming. All the players that were already here are welcoming. Like your brother, love Drew. But it's just, you get a lot of help from the older people and also the people that are in your class. You kind of just bond with them, and then you ask the older people advice, or you have them looking out for you. Like we had Avery and Orf, who both got drafted, and Bach. They're very, very good leaders. They were always very open armed. You could always talk to them about anything, but it's nothing that you don't prepare for. Especially if your work ethic is high intent, but it definitely is a change of pace of play for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think really it's a common theme that I hear from the kids that I'm talking to before I talk to you was it's not like, oh, the pitchers throw harder.
Yeah.
It's like literally every single thing about the game.
Yeah.
Your daily schedule, your, like you said, your lifting schedule, everything's just on a little bit quicker pace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, like you said, preparing for it and like trying to act like a college baseball player before you get there is huge for kids.
Yeah.
For sure. So what was your living situation like when you got there? Were you in dorms? Were you in an apartment? What's up with that?
Yeah. So I lived in a dorm with my roommate, who was a baseball player, and then we had a suite mate who was also two other baseball players, and then we all shared a bathroom. Dorms it was great. We had all the athletes in there. We hung out with all the athletes. You meet a lot of people. I wouldn't complain about it at all. Honestly, it was
awesome.
For going to a smaller school, I would say that it's really nice. So
yeah, do you think there's a pretty good community at SIUE, like with all the different sports, or do all the own sports kind of stay in their lanes?
No, I'd say there's a good community. We're close with a bunch of other sports. We support other sports support us. So I would say the community is really good here.
Yeah, it's always huge. Helps for sure.
Yeah.
So when you stepped on campus day one, what did the coaching staff, what did the Coach Lyons coaching staff expect out of you at your position? Like day one, first practice. What was the base standard is what I'm asking.
First practice was, all right, you need to get used to college play. They could tell that I went to a small school, and I could tell myself that I went to a small school. They were like, basically, because it was Coach Kelch at the time. It was, all right, you're going to get on campus, you're going to work your ass off. That was basically what it was, because they saw the potential of starting, but they didn't know if I was there yet. So, and I didn't know if I was there yet. So basically it was, get to campus, work your butt off, weight room, hit the weights hard, just learn the game as you go, ask questions, just be the typical freshman who asks a bunch of questions, but learning the game there's more to the game when you get to college.
Yeah, everything about it.
Yeah, everything about it. There's more in depth. You do stuff in practice in college that you would never even think of doing in high school.
Yeah.
But it might be boring, but it comes up in the game. So I would say just as I got to campus, it was basically just learn the game more, keep up to the pace of the play once you step on campus, it's no going backwards. It's only going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got a lot of time as a true freshman. I think it's definitely can be rare, especially at the level that you're at. What was the first weekend like of spring ball when you had a pretty good idea you're probably going to be in the starting lineup as a true freshman?
I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what weekend it was, but I think it was a conference weekend. I was like, shit. Honestly, I was. It was like I had been waiting all year, but it was like once that time came, I was like, wow, here we go. I remember it's actually, I was 0 for my first 12, I'm pretty sure. And then I hit a switch once we went into the middle conference. I hit, and I don't even know what I finished on the year, 240 something on the year and 300 in conference. I obviously missed the first 3 weekends of conference, but it was kind of you could play at this level. It was an eye opener first weekend. I remember I stepped in the box. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Happens quick.
Here we go.
Real quick.
Yeah. Here we go. But it's just also, as you mature, the game slows down in your head. So, it was definitely, sped up for my first time being out there. But as the season went on, I could tell that the game was just slowing down in my head, and I could just visualize what's about to happen or expect something that, you're not expecting. So
For sure. I think really, I mean, you can do everything you can do preparation wise to make that first game go as slow as possible in your head. And I don't know if it works. I think it's fast.
Yeah, you could sleep 20 hours. It doesn't matter. It's going to be cool.
You're still going to be nervous.
Yeah,
for sure. So obviously you went through a positional change, moving over to first base. Obviously you're a shortstop in high school and you moved to third base. So you moved all over. What's it like being a multi-positional guy in college?
I think it actually puts a lot of value on yourself. Being able to, all right, you're going in, you played this position in high school. Coach is like, we could put him here because he's an athlete. And then boom, 2 weeks before the season started last year, I went over to first. I had no idea that it was going to happen. I know Coach had mentioned something about it, but I'd been practicing at third the whole time. And then he put the lineup up and was like, you're going to be at first. So it was just, it's kind of like, as at this level, you have to learn fast. So it took me, I'd say, about 2 full weeks to feel really comfortable over there at first. But I mean, moving around, it's like, it doesn't really bother me. I know it bothers some people, but being on the end field, it's just wherever you put me I'll feel comfortable. So it's not like, dang, I feel uncomfortable here or there, but I'll just go out and play. So wherever you put me, it'll come natural to me, I feel like. So
for sure. I think it's a great point mentioning it increases your player value dramatically.
Yeah.
If you're able to move around, because especially, obviously, you're a young guy coming into SIUE, and you coming in as a young guy to a Division I program, if you're in one position only guy, you got a tough road cut out from day one. Right. I think a lot of kids pigeonhole themselves really early into positions. I play third base. And they're 14 years old. I'm like, no, you play third, second base, first base. You play as many as you can. And I mean, at least in my opinion, I think if you can play above average defense at your number one spot and then play serviceable at another 1 or 2 positions, perfect.
Yeah.
It helps you get your name in the lineup so much easier.
Yep.
For sure. So obviously this past year, you had a pretty good one. You had 309, you had a couple homers, 13 doubles. What did you think was the biggest improvement for you from year 1 to year 2? And then what do you want to do from year 2 to year 3?
I'd say year 1 to year 2, my main focus going into the off season, so the winter, and then going into the summer to my sophomore year, was just consistency of my swing, just, bat to ball contact. There was a hitch in my swing my freshman year that I never really figured out until I went home from the spring season. And then I came back, and then basically all the fall of last year. So when Coach Paulson came, he basically figured it out for me. And I took that, and then we did live at bats in the winter and hit pretty well then. And then we came back from Christmas break, and it was boom, I figured it out. Everything felt smooth. Everything felt fluent. And then that, obviously, baseball is a very confident game, stepping in the box. So it obviously boosted my confidence going into the box. And then just basically the same thing for this year. Just being consistent with the swing. Obviously, over the summer, I didn't really play that much, so I just put on weight, lifted in the weight room. So, but just basically just consistency is what I was looking for this year. Because, I mean, the swing feels amazing right now. So just kind of looking back on it, there was that hitch that I never really figured out until Coach Paulson got here. And we figured that out, and everything felt just working all together. So,
yeah, sounds like a good spot though, for real.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. So I guess my final question for you will be the coin question. So you're gonna walk into the Rawlings Tigers training facility now, and you're gonna give the 16U player advice, what are you telling them?
It's stressful if you want to play at the next level. I mean, there's dudes anywhere, D1, D2, D3, NAI, JUCO. It doesn't matter where you play. There's going to be guys everywhere. There's going to be people at NAI that get drafted, D3 get drafted, D2, D1. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be the guy that's D1 or bust. There's going to be coaches have connections everywhere. You could go to a D2, ball out, transfer to a D1. You could go to a D3, ball out, transfer to a D1. It doesn't matter. I would say just, you got to prepare for what you want and what you have to basically know where your level of play is at and know who to reach out to. You can't just reach out to Power 5. You're not going to be able to play there. So I'd say just going to have to hone in on where you think you're going to be able to play and then reach out to those coaches. And then obviously you play for a good program, so they're going to be at your games. I would just basically you can't put too much stress on yourself because it gets stressful. But you just kind of have to hone in on what you want to do and where you want to go.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe, just speaking from my experience in recruiting, and maybe you felt the same way. I think the recruiting process for kids is stressful because really a lot of it's out of your control completely.
Oh, yeah.
You can go out and play, you can send the emails out and you think this email's perfect. I have video of me hitting homers for a minute and a half straight. Yep. And you're like, he's going to like it. And you send it to it, no reply. Or you send it to another school, no reply. Or he replies, tells you he's going to reach out to you and you never talk to him again. So I think that's what I know stressed me out the most and what probably stresses a lot of kids out the most. And I think maybe it can help sharing this with the whole Tiger community can show the Tigers kids, when that happens to them, it's not they're not on an island by themselves. It happens to pretty much everybody.
Yeah. Coaches are getting 1,000 emails a day, especially during the when it's not dead period time. Their job is literally to go to practice, and then when they're done with practice, it is literally look at their email, look on Twitter, who can we figure out? Well, they're 4 years ahead. They're looking at the 2028 season in 2024. Yeah. No one really realizes that coaches are always ahead of the game.
100%. And I think as a player, it's your job to be unreplaceable.
Yep.
But then improve year to year. I think some of the coolest stuff I get to see now that I'm out of college is seeing guys year to year improve from their freshman year into their sophomore year, junior, because it is a long, drawn-out process. And it's the exact same process with high school kids. So for the Tiger kids and the 15U kids, I'm telling them, you have time. Understand that your development's going to take a long time. You're not going to come in here, get 2 hitting lessons, and then you're good. It's not going to happen like that. It's going to take way longer than you think. And you're probably most likely going to commit later than you thought you were going to.
Yep.
Because it just takes time. Obviously, unless you're a can't miss guy, you throw 98, then you just go to one showcase, pop 98, and you're good. For those kids you're talking about, you committed to Illinois State, you get decommitted, and then you got to find another home. That's a unique story. Some kids go through that. Some kids never go through that in their life. I think now more than ever, kids are going to have to find their second home at some point in college baseball, and it's awesome that you don't have to do that. I think there's a ton of valuable information here I can share with kids, man, and I'm just glad we could get on here and knock this out.
Sure, man. I appreciate it.